Welcome back to Game Talk from the Bench. I'm your host, Drew Barreto, and today I'm here with my co-host, my uncle Andrew Barreto. Today we're covering more football Week 11. We'll give our Week 12 predictions. We'll move on to the MLB awards that got announced at the end of last week, after our last episode got out, and then finally we'll go over some NBA standings. But I first want to start off by taking um the time to talk about a little bit of time to talk about John Beam, former head coach of Laney football um in Oakland. He tragically was shot last Thursday and ended up passing away on Friday. So I just want to take the time, give a little moment of silence because he was an icon in that Oakland community, in the sports world. I mean, he helped a lot of guys go from, you know, JUCO to the NFL. He's got a couple of his players that are currently in the NFL right now, and he had a major impact on a lot of people in Oakland. So I just wanted to take the time to remember him, as well as the Cowboys edge rusher, Marshawn Nealon. A couple weeks ago, he had taken his own life, and so a lot of sad things happen in the sports world. So I just want to take this the start off this episode with a little remembrance of them and a moment of silence for them. To kick us off, week 11. Week 11 was we're getting closer and closer to the playoffs. We start off with Thursday Night Football, Jets, Patriots. I said last week this would have been a great game for Drake May to, I said, stat pad a little to for his his case for MVP. He had a good game, 281, only one touchdown. Um, However, they found the running back, Trayvon Henderson. He's been great. I believe back-to-back weeks where he's gotten about three touchdowns. He had 19 carries, 62 yards, two touchdowns. Um, Jets end up falling to 2-8. And there was news this week that they are replacing Justin Fields at quarterback with Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, it looks like the Justin Fields experiment is ending pretty quick. He's just struggled. They were in that game for a little bit, but it was just a matter of time before the, like you said, Patriots end up, taking it away. But yeah, the Jets, they're just not a good team, like we've talked about so many times. They'll be playing for a seeding, the draft pick seeding, just like
Yeah.
some of the other teams we'll get into later. But uh,
Yes.
but for sure, they just the Patriots 9-2, top of the AFC, and deserving. They're taking care of their business right now.
It's surprising that they're not 10-1. They lost to the Raiders week 1, but we won't get into that. But yeah. No, they're looking great. Obviously gonna win. Well, most likely will win the division. Who knows? We'll talk about the Bills in a little bit. But yeah, most definitely are making the playoffs.
I
And
had
then
a
we had another.
quick question, because
Yep.
I just can't remember the Patriots variable. Is this his first year?
This is his first year. Yes,
This
as
is
a
his
Patriots
first
head
year, and
coach.
he turned around this franchise
All
that
right, I
fast.
believe. Yeah, because no, last year they had Jared Mayo. So this is the first year with the
I mean,
variable.
I mean,
I mean, they had a couple, they had a couple of bright lights. Christian Gonzalez was out all of last year. Obviously, last year Drake May started towards the end of the season. So they had a couple of bright spots. They just needed to put together, and they needed the head coach. And obviously, Vrabel's been to the playoffs. He's been to the AFC Championship. So right guy, and he got the right team. And then they had good draft picks. They were able to get the left tackle, not Jack Campbell. It's Will Campbell. Yeah, they were able to build a solid team, and now they're winning games, and they've beaten a couple of good teams. Um,
good for them. I mean, it's just immediately I start thinking of like the other teams that are lousy, particularly the Raiders. Been through already 5 teams since they moved to Vegas. 5 coaches, I should say, since they moved to Vegas. And I'm like, okay, Vrabel gets the job. 9 and
yep,
2, one of the top seeds. We'll
yep,
talk about it
and
later. Go ahead.
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how far they do. But yeah, we had a game in Madrid, I believe. Yes, Dolphins Commanders. I was up early, but I was at church, so I did not watch this game. I was hoping the Dolphins won. They ended up coming out on top in OT. Barely. They moved to 4-7. Commanders 3-8. Just a tough year for the Commanders. Jaden Daniels out for the rest of the year. They dealing with a lot of injuries. Dolphins started off slow. They've gotten a couple wins since. Mike McDaniel's trying to keep his job um, for next year. But not much to talk about that game. It was a early game. Um, and yeah. Packers Giants. Obviously Giants without Jackson Dart. Packers barely come out with the victory, 27-20. And they're just been a team. They lost last week to the Eagles, 10-7. But they're just a team that I don't know. They're kind of like the Bills to me. We'll talk about the Bills in a little bit, but they're a team that has looked good, but they also show a lot of flaws.
Yeah,
And
and
so
they're
I don't
still
know. But I
young,
mean,
young quarterback still too. He's still,
yeah,
he doesn't have enough games under his belt. He's still learning, and they're still, up there in the seedings.
yeah, they are.
Packers.
They're 6-3-1. That tie definitely helps them. But yeah, I mean, but I don't know. They just don't seem to have it all, especially with trading for Micah. They don't seem complete in some way. I can't figure it out what, but they should not have been. This game should not have been this close with the Giants.
Yeah, and even when they're down to what their uh, second, third quarterback, whatever you want, Jameis
Yeah,
Winston in there, and they were alive in this game. I mean, there was a point where hey, it looked like the Giants might pull this off, but like you said, Packers, take it at the end and win 27-20 to keep their win streak there, or not win streak, but their NFL standings to be one of the top teams in the NFC.
yeah. And then we got a couple of quick just score games. Texans ended up beating the Titans. Davis Mills was playing. CJ Stroud out this week for Thursday Night Football, still dealing with concussion. He will be out against the Bills, but Texans get the 16-13 win over the Titans. Bears get the game-winning kick over the Vikings. They continue to look good, although they kind of thought they should have done better this game. They end up winning 19-7. They move on to 7-3. And then the Panthers end up beating the Falcons. I talked about this earlier. The Falcons were frauds this year, and it was true. Um, I thought they could have won this game. They were winning late in this game. I believe they were up 21-19, and they had the ball within 3 minutes. Next thing I know, this game's in overtime, and the Panthers ended up winning. Um, but it's tough because the Panthers are another one of those teams. They're 6-5. I believe they're in the playoff hunt, but they might even be in the playoff spot. But I know they're in the hunt. Bryce Young played phenomenal. 31-45, 448 yards, 3 touchdowns. On the other end, Michael Penix Jr., he's going to be out for the year. He's got a partial torn ACL. So it's just a horrible year for the Falcons. They don't own their first round pick this year. That belongs to the Rams. So Rams are excited, but Panthers last week, they lost to the Saints. They're another team that they could be 7-4. But no, instead they're 6-5. So it's just like a lot of these teams are just so bipolar.
Yeah,
But
no, I agree. That's something we're seeing a lot of where you figure the team should go ahead and win this game, but then they don't, like we've seen the Bills. In this case, like you mentioned, the Panthers. Panthers right there in the South, though. They're, 6-5, and Tampa Bay's leading at 6-4, so they're not
yeah,
completely out of it. Falcons, yeah, looks like that's going to be it, especially with their quarterback down
yeah,
for the
quarterback
year.
situation. Yeah, they're gonna have
Yeah,
to
and
go
they're
to they're gonna have to
struggling.
go to Cousins, and they already paid him 150 million. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be rough for Falcons fans. But yeah, like I said, bipolar teams. Jaguars dominated the Chargers, 35-6. Um, this is what I thought would happen last week when the Chargers played the Steelers. I thought that defensive line of the Steelers would have killed Justin Herbert, except it happened this week, which is tough because I picked the Chargers to win, but that's okay. Um, I talked about it last week. Jaguars should have won that game against the Texans, and instead, they end up losing, and I thought that was going to really hurt their playoff chances, but Chargers decided to give them this game. And now they're back in it. They're 6-4. Chargers 7-4. Both teams fighting to make it in the postseason. But yeah, there's a lot of teams that are just so. One week they look phenomenal. Next week they look like they're not even a team. It's.
Yeah, that one there too. I had to look this up because, like, is this an error? Like Justin Herbert, 81 yards passing, 10 of 18, one
Yeah,
interception.
I didn't even know
he was
that.
the he was the leading rusher with 21 yards. Like, what happened there? I mean, they
And
had
I
six
and I
points.
know the offensive line is horrible. I know all the offensive linemen are like 34th ranked, right? But last week they played so well. Well, not so well, but they played great against the Steelers. So I was like, I don't. I mean, maybe the Jaguars are better than the Steelers, but I don't think, if anything, they're that much better. And I was like, this should be an easy win for the Chargers, but it just simply wasn't. I'm just like, man, like these guys are killing me here. That's the same thing with the Bills. We're talking to the Bills right now. I'm watching this game. Last week they couldn't score a touchdown against the Dolphins. This week, Josh Allen looked like the MVP again. He had 6 total touchdowns. Bucks were battling with them. Um, but yeah, there was like no defense in this game whatsoever. I mean, the
No,
Bills got
right.
Bills got enough stops to win the game, but a couple failed 2-point conversions to the Bucks, and the Bills slowly started slipping away. And finally, they ended up winning 44-32. But then, like I said, Bills a couple weeks ago beat the Chiefs. Last week they um lose to the Dolphins, and then this week they get a big win over the Bucks. But the Bucks have struggled. The Bucks are, I believe, they started off the year 5-0. Since then they're 1-4. I mean, they struggle a little bit. Baker, I mean, it's tough. I believe Chris Godwin isn't playing. And obviously Mike Evans is out. Obviously still has rookie Emeka Egbuka, but the offense is, I mean, they scored 32 points. That's because their running back, um, Sean Tucker, I don't know who this guy was, but he went off 19 carries, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. But the offense just, or Baker and their passing game just hasn't been like it was to start the year, and the offense is taking a big hit from it, and the defense obviously has some concerns when they're giving up 44 points. But yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, yeah, like you said, there was no defense there. These guys were scoring every time they touched the ball. It seemed like after I think the Bucks had a bye week, and then after that they came off the bye, and then next thing you know, they have this. They've just been struggling to play football. And their offense is, been questionable, and I mean, they had no problem scoring, but like you said, um, it's just like who's going to score last? It looks like the Bills did.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. A couple more score updates. Steelers beat the Bengals. I thought Joe Burrow was playing this week, so I'd pick the Bengals, but he wasn't. Steelers beat the Bengals 34-12. 49ers get a big win over the Cardinals 41-22. However, though, Jacoby Brissett set the NFL record for most completed passes. I believe he had 47 completed. Yeah, 47, 57, 452 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 INTs. They put up 22 points, but they gave up 41. Um, Rams Seahawks. This game, I thought the Rams were gonna walk away with it. They picked off Sam Darnold 4 times. But it came down to a missed field goal by the Seahawks. Rams ended up getting the win, 21-19. I believe I picked the Rams. They move on to 8-2. Seattle moves on to 7-3. It's a tough game for Sam Darnold. Like I said, 4 picks. I think it was the first time he threw 4 picks since the infamous I'm seeing Ghost out there when he was with the Jets. Oh,
Oh,
when he was with the Jets or when he was with the Panthers, one of the two. But
yeah.
that was the first time. But he'd been great all year. Just a tough game. Rams are arguably the best team in the NFC. Um,
Yeah,
at
they're
least,
right up there,
right? I
with
believe.
the Eagles. They're number two.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
they're
both of
probably
them are
tied with
eight and
the.
two.
Yeah, they're both 8-2, but I believe the Rams are better than the Eagles. Both sides of the ball. I don't know. Eagles defense actually has been playing pretty well the past couple weeks, but we'll get into the Eagles. But yeah, no, Rams get the big win. Over Seattle, and then we talked about this big matchup: Chiefs Broncos. Chiefs 5-4 heading into this game. Broncos obviously 7-2 head or 8-2 heading into this game. I predicted the Broncos would win. I got a lot of hate for saying the Broncos are fraudulent. I still think they are. I'll stand by what I said. They get a close win, 22-19 over the Chiefs. Chiefs fall at 5-5, and they're slowly falling out of the playoff hunt. Um, but as for the Broncos, I mean, their offense is they're getting carried by their defense. I watched this game. I watched this game. Um, they picked off Mahomes. No, they didn't. They had a lot of red zone opportunities. They did pick off Mahomes, but I'm thinking of the Bills game. Um, they had a lot of red zone opportunities that ended up in 3. It was like 6-6 at one point. A lot of missed opportunities by the offense. But the defense just got enough stops.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. The Chiefs are significantly worse. I replied to a comment about it, like, oh, the Broncos beat both teams in the Super Bowl last year, and I said, well, both teams in the Super Bowl last year are significantly worse than they are this year, or they're significantly worse this year than they were last year. You could see that the Chiefs don't look like the Chiefs. They're not the dominant team that they were last year or in previous years. And the Eagles, yeah, they're winning games, but you could tell they're not the same team as last year. Now the defense is starting to get there. Their defense is looking great, but the offense is just falling off. So I mean,
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I'm still surprised too. But one of these games, we're gonna have to give the Broncos
yeah,
their due. I mean, it's just they're winning the games. I mean, regardless of how other teams are playing, they're still winning. They're
yeah.
still getting the W. They're still doing enough to get those victories. And yeah, right now, I mean, I have it sorted by conference. They're number one. Patriots number two at 9-2. Colts are there. They had a bye, right? They had a bye 8-2.
Yeah, Colts had a
So
bye. Yeah,
but
and
their defense is. I did see parts of this game, and it looks like they were applying enough pressure to have the Chiefs just have bad possessions, and like you said, just pulled it out. Once you pull those kind of big games out, especially in their division, yeah, you get a little. You searching for respect, and I think they got it from me. I'm still a
yeah.
little shocked, but wow.
I mean, for me, I think that if they're still searching, they obviously they don't need my respect, but they're
Yeah,
still searching for my respect. I mean, they haven't. I don't believe they played great teams. They played the Titans week 1. They won by 8. They lost to the Colts, um, in week 2. They lost to the Chargers in week 3. They beat the Broncos or they beat the Bengals without Joe Burrow. They did have a nice comeback win against the Eagles. I'll give them a lot of props for that one. But then again, I said Eagles aren't as good as they were last year, especially this was before the trade deadline. They barely beat the Jets 13-11. They had a great comeback win against the Giants. Then again, it is still the Giants. They had a big blowout win against the Cowboys. Obviously, all these are pre-trade deadline. Cowboys were missing a lot of defensive players in this game. Still giving them credit for the win though.
yeah.
Barely beat the Texans 18-15. Obviously, they barely beat the Raiders 10-7. And then they had another close game against the Chiefs, 22-19. I'm looking at the rest of their schedule. I mean, the only respectable wins I think they could get is if they could beat the Packers in week 14, 13, 14. And if they beat the Chiefs again, and if they could beat the Chargers to end the season, but they'll probably be resting starters because they're going to be in the playoffs. But yeah, I don't know.
Hey,
We
when
also saw.
when you break it down like that, yeah, okay, they are frauds.
Yeah, I mean, well, I talked about this. I also commented like we saw the Steelers in 2020 go start the season 11-0, but come towards the end of the season and playoff
Yeah,
time, they were really bad. So I don't know. They have won 9 games. Obviously, good teams find a way to
yeah,
find ways to win.
yeah.
They've done that, but there's nothing. No team that they've beat so far has impressed me. Like I said, they lost to the Colts. Colts are one of the better teams in the league. They lost to the Chargers. So I don't know. We'll see. But Ravens get the big win over the Browns. Shadur Sanders, your guy, got into this game.
Yeah.
When Dylan Gabriel
Had a
left with
chance
concussion.
to either tie
Yeah.
it up or more, I believe.
I believe he fumbled and I believe he threw a pick. He had about 40 yards passing, but the Kevin Stefanski said that was the first time with him playing with the starters. So it's rough to just go out there and play perfect ball.
Yeah.
But he will start this upcoming week against the Raiders because Dylan Gabriel is in concussion protocol. So we'll see how he
Oh
plays.
man, he's going against the Raiders. His first
He's gonna
start
look
has
like
to
an
be against the
MVP.
Raiders. This guy, yeah, I'm calling him now. 300 yards,
Yeah, no, Raiders are bad. We'll
one
get into them.
passing, two rushing. God darn it,
Yeah.
every single time. Okay.
Yeah. But moving on to Sunday Night Football with Eagles Lions, and like I said, the Eagles offense hasn't been great. It's still not there. It's still not the best ability that it can be. They have so much talent on that offense. They did lose Lane Johnson on the right tackle, but yeah, a lot of talent on offense, but they're just not scoring enough points. They put up 16, but their defense, I mean, since they acquired Jalen Phillips, um, past 2 weeks, their defense has been phenomenal. They hold the Lions to 9 points, who had put up 42 the week prior. They held the Packers to only 7 last week. I mean, the Eagles defensively are playing great ball. If they could figure out this offense, they might have a shot of going back to back. But they have to figure out the offense, and they're running out of time. We're heading into week 12, and obviously they're going to be a playoff team. But that defense cannot keep carrying. I know they say defense wins championships. But the defense cannot carry the offense as much as it is for the Eagles.
Yeah, though the way it looks now, though, they're almost like the Broncos. They're good enough right now, and they're getting their victories. And to hold the Lions, like you said, the high-powered offense of the Lions, to hold them to 9 points. Wow, that's a victory right there. So, um, yeah, they continue this, and sure, they what are they number tie for number tie for the number one seed with the Rams 8-2, and yeah, they're going to be a problem. I mean, especially if they start getting Jalen Hurts in that offense rolling like they have before.
Yeah, no, they got to get rolling somehow, some way. But I believe they will. Like I said, I believe they have too many
Yeah,
good players on offense to not figure it out. But moving on to Monday Night Football, we had Cowboys Raiders. Obviously, this was an emotional game for the Cowboys, their first game since losing their teammate Marshawn Nealon. And after they acquired all the players at the trade deadline, and yeah, they dominated the Raiders. They won 33-16. Both the receivers went for, I believe, over 100 yards. Dak played great. The defense played great. Quentin Williams had, I believe, I can't remember his final stat, but I know at the half he had 1.5 sacks.
yeah,
Um, Defense looked good. Obviously, there'll be a better test next week because the Raiders do have one of the worst offenses in the league. The offensive line is probably the worst in the NFL. Um, but yeah, just the Raiders are just such a dysfunctional organization. Um, I said it before, or we talked about it. Should the Raiders move on from Geno and Pete Carroll? And now the answer is yes.
yeah.
Yes,
I'm
they
actually
should.
surprised. I'm actually surprised. I even said this probably last week and the weekend before. I'm surprised that the coach and the offensive coordinator and that staff is still hanging in there. And I don't think if Al Davis was alive, I don't think this coach is going to make it. He would have been fired already. Uh, they're just battle around. Like there's not one good thing about them. Offensively they just not scoring any points, and they're supposed to have this offensive coordinator who's this juggernaut, whatever you want to call it, and they don't
Yeah,
get a touchdown to the fourth quarter. So we're
yeah,
watching just even the play calling. I mean, I think even though the Cowboys ended up getting the safety on them, and
they did. Yeah,
um, it's just bad football. And then here we go again. Raiders are going to get a top 5 pick and maybe ruin that person's career, kind of like they're doing with Genty already,
yeah.
who's
I know they
uh,
gave him. I forgot how many rushes at the half. It was like I think it's 6 rushes all game, which is it's unbelievable. I mean, I know the offensive line is banged up right now. They're missing the left tackle. They're missing their starting right guard. But I mean, you drafted them six overall. He's shown great flashes. But yeah, I mean, the Raiders they need to kind of blow everything up. They have a lot of the offense has a lot of key pieces. I mean, Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer look great. Ashton Jeanty looks great. Trey Tucker has shown some flashes that he could be a good wide receiver two in the league. Defensively, obviously, you have Max Crosby. Um, that's about it defensively. Or Eric Stokes has actually been pretty solid for the Raiders this year. So they got a couple pieces, but yeah, they need new coaching. I think the general manager, I think John Spytek deserves another year. But this team just coming out of the second half, they did not look like they wanted to play. Um,
so this goes back to good thing they didn't sign Geno Smith to. It's only 2 years, right? I think it was only a 2-year deal
yeah, I believe it was 2 years.
instead of a long-term kind of deal to be stuck with him for multiple years. Uh, like a 3 to 4 year kind of thing. Just
Yeah,
see what he could do in the 1 to 2, and obviously we're seeing what he could do in this offense. Maybe in another offense he does better, but this particular offense they have, he's just not the guy. And I'm gonna go back
yeah.
to look at Vrabel. His first year, he's got Drake May. This is what his second year as well. Um,
But he's got a good offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels.
that was our
Obviously,
head coach
Josh
not too long ago.
Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator, is 100 times better than Josh McDaniels, the head coach.
Oof. Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it. Like you said, Vrabel was able to turn it around. But they had, like I said, they had a lot of key pieces. They just needed the head coach, and he's obviously the guy. And now they're thrilling. But the Raiders they need a lot of things. And it's been rough because it's been a lot of rough years. Especially since they moved on from Derek Carr. But we won't get into that.
Yeah.
Moving on to Week 12 predictions. Thursday Night Football, Bills Texans. Um, should be an easy one for the Bills. C.J. Stroud is not playing. I'll say that, but who knows? Somehow, maybe the Texans will win, or it might be a close game. But I got the Bills winning on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills too. I know it's just been a weird season where you never know. Texans could pull one out. If they're at home on prime time, prime video. So I'm still taking the Bills.
Yeah, no international game this week, but we'll go over a couple of the 10 o'clock games. We got Colts Chiefs this game. Well, if the Chiefs win this game, they still got a shot to make the playoffs, but they're playing the Colts. And I think the Colts are just gonna stampede the Chiefs, and I think this game will basically eliminate the Chiefs from playoff contention. And I got the Colts winning. Jonathan Taylor is gonna continue to have his MVP campaign. And I believe they'll take this one over the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, it's something in me who still wants to say the Chiefs are going to just ride this out and make things difficult on other teams, and they're at home. But at the same time, the Colts want to hang in there with the rest of those Broncos and Patriots. They're going to need this victory. So if they want to get to the next level, they have to win this game. I'll take the Colts as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at this Week 12 schedule. It's not that great. Seahawks, Titans, Vikings, Packers might be good, but who knows? We got Lions, Giants, Ravens, Jets, Steelers, Bears, Patriots, Bengals. None of these matchups are like huge matchups. They're just kind of there. I guess the Patriots Bengals matchup could be good if Joe Burrow plays. But Jamar Chase is suspended, so maybe not. Oh, I forgot about that. Jamar Chase suspended one game for spitting on Jalen Ramsey. So there's that. Sorry for all the fantasy owners, but he's out this next week. So marked it down the loss in fantasy football. But yeah,
It's a loss. Yeah, it's a loss. Loss in
yeah,
fantasy and a loss for the Bengals.
lost to the Bengals. Yeah. And then Raiders Browns. That's another terrible game. Cardinals Jaguars. Who knows? That might be a shootout. But I guess a big game would be these last three, which is Eagles Cowboys Sunday. Talk about the Eagles defense as being great. Obviously, the Cowboys are one of the best offenses in the league. They did get some defensive upgrades. So this is a testament to this Cowboys team if they still got a shot of making the playoffs. They're 4-5-1. And I think I love the Eagles. I truly do. I really like Jalen Hurts, but I think I'm gonna give the benefit to the Cowboys. I think they got it. I think they'll get this win. I think they have enough now. I think they're kind of healthy enough to win. Like I said, this will be a true testament, so we'll really see if this Cowboys team is legit or not. But I think the Cowboys will beat the Eagles this week.
I'm taking the Eagles on this. They're still going to be rolling. You got the Cowboys. It was a fluke win yesterday. Anybody right now can do that to the Raiders.
That is true.
So yeah, I'm going with the Eagles just to continue on their winning ways. And yeah, Cowboys are at home. That's good, and they got all those players, and like you said, they're a little bit healthy, and those receivers they're pretty darn good. Those Pickens and CeeDee
Yeah,
Lambs, and
they
Prescott will get them the ball, So
Prescott will get no definitely they got a great 1-2 punch. I think they'll ride into victory.
Yeah, offensively they got some key pieces there to put up points. But like you said, the Eagles have been shutting down some teams, and they just did it against the Lions. So I'm going with the Eagles.
Yeah. And then Sunday Night Football, we got Bucks Rams. We talked about the Bucks have been struggling, and I think they're not continue to struggle, but I think the Rams got this. I think the Rams are just such a good, well-rounded team. They have enough offensive firepower. They got enough defensive firepower. They're just such a, like I said, well-built team. And I just think they're the best team. Oof, in the league, maybe, but definitely in the NFC, they're the best team. And I think I got them beating the Bucks on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, interesting game here. I mean, yeah, like we said earlier, the Bucks have been struggling. To get the win. I mean, offensively, they putting up points, but then there's other games where they're just struggling all around. I think I'm with you on the Rams. I'm taking the Rams at home. They won 5 in a row, and let's make it 6.
Yeah, yeah. And then Monday Night Football, I lied. There's only 2 good matchups. It's Panthers, Niners. Who knows? It might be a close matchup, but Niners got Brock Purdy back. They dominated. George Kittle went off. McCaffrey went off. McCaffrey had 3 touchdowns, 100+ yards. This is an easy pick for me. It's the Niners. Although with all their defensive injuries, they're still 7-4. and they'll probably move to 8-4. But I got the Niners winning on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, we don't know what Carolina Panthers team we're going to get. We can get Bryce Young that throws for over 400 yards, or we're going to get Bryce Young who's just running for his life. So I'm taking the Niners at home as well. Monday night. I think they're just taking care of business, and I think some of their losses have been just against better teams. And they're a good team. It's just like they're running into some of these teams that are
powerhouses. Yep. Yeah, they have. Yeah, and like I said, the injuries to the defense. I mean, losing Bosa, Fred Warner, that's killer. But they've still managed to win games. But yeah, should be an easy one for the Niners. But moving on to the MLB awards that finally got announced later last week that we didn't get to cover. The MVP, obviously in the National League, it was Ohtani. He won it unanimously for the fourth time. It's his third consecutive MVP. He's the first to win multiple MVPs in both leagues. Ohtani had 55 home runs, led MLB with 146 runs, while having a 2.87 ERA and 47 innings pitched. I mean, this was a no-doubter. I thought, Schwarber deserved a little more credit. He was also a 50-plus homer guy, obviously more of a DH than Ohtani. It's just hard to beat it when a guy pitches as well. It's really tough to beat.
I would say so too, right? I mean, you're hitting 55 home runs, and you're holding people to 2.87 ERA. That's crazy.
Yeah, if he had like a high ERA, I think it would have maybe made it closer. But when he was dominant like that, it's kind of hard to beat him. Although he didn't have as many stolen bases as he did last year, but that was one part of his game that took a huge step back. I believe he only had about 18 stolen bases compared to like the 50 something he had last year. So, but he ends up winning. And the AL, was between Judge, and the American League was between Judge and Raleigh, and Judge comes out on top. He batted .331 with 53 home runs. He beats Cal Raleigh. Obviously, Judge had an incredible year. I mean, .331 batting average is insane with 50 home runs. I still feel like Raleigh should have won. Just because I know offense is kind of everything in baseball, but Raleigh plays catcher, and he's got to call the games for his pitchers. He's got to block behind the plate. I mean, I think he's got the toughest position out on the field. And he was one of the best at it. And plus with his offensive production, obviously his batting average wasn't nearly as close as Judge, but he did hit 60 home runs. Yeah, it was tough, but I mean, you can't discredit Judge. He's consistently doing this. But I feel like since he consistently does it, it's nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing we haven't seen from Judge. This is like the first thing we've ever seen from Cal Raleigh and from a catcher.
Yeah, no, I know. Ever since we started this, we've been rooting for Raleigh to come through with the MVP. He gave Judge a run for it, but ultimately, like you said, I think you're saying that we expect that from Judge. Him with making the MVP run, and I think him being with the Yankees and doing what he normally does. He's the last 3 MVPs in the last 4 or 5 years or whatever it is, and I'm not mad at the pick, but we really wanted to go for somebody different, somebody who is taking this team to another level. Now their expectations are higher than ever. Because they feel like, okay, here we go. It's our time.
The Mariners were one game away from going to the World Series. Obviously the Yankees were second round exits to the Blue Jays, but I thought Cal Raleigh, I thought he fully deserved it.
Right.
Yeah, not to discredit Judge. Obviously, he's also really deserving. Like I said, incredible year, but unfortunate for the catcher. But moving on to the Cy Young in the American League, it was between Tariq Skubal and Garrett Crochet. And Skubal, he won it. I want to say I thought it was unanimously, maybe not. But he ends up winning the Cy Young back-to-back years, becoming the 12th pitcher to win it back-to-back. He was dominant again. Led the American League in ERA at 2.21. He had 241 strikeouts and 195 innings. He had a 13-6 record. I mean, he was incredible. Obviously, the Tigers went to the playoffs, got eliminated in the second round to the Mariners, but he was fantastic this year. And but Garrett Crochet gave him his run for his money. But yeah, Screwball was just ultimately just dominant.
Yeah, and that's back to back. Wow, that says enough right there. Back to back Cy Youngs, and I'm looking at his ERA 2.21. I mean, geez, 13-6 for the AL wildcard Tiger.
And now he's not demanded, but now he's probably gonna get around a $400 million contract.
Oh man.
We'll see if Detroit pays him. We'll see if he moves elsewhere. But moving on to the National League Cy Young, no doubt about it. It was Paul Skeens. Obviously won the Rookie of the Year last year. He led the MLB with a 1.97 ERA. He becomes just third pitcher to win Rookie of the Year and Cy Young honors within the first two seasons. Christopher Sanchez, I believe, was second in the voting, but yeah, Paul Skeens, I mean, under 2 ERA. Obviously, his win-loss record wasn't great just because he's on the Pirates. I believe he was 10-10. But yeah, he was utterly dominant. If the Pirates had an average offense, he probably would have got close to 20 wins. But every time he was out there on the mound, you knew he was going to give you 6 innings of scoreless or one run ball. But yeah, he was just. I think dominance the closest word you could say to him, but he was just phenomenal this
Looks
year
like
for the Pirates.
the one bright spot for the Pirates, it looks like, right? I mean, dead last in the National League here, or not dead last, but okay. It's Cardinals and then the Pirates. So yeah, they were 71-91, and yeah, well, deserving for him, and you know that 1.97. That's again another number that makes me go, wow, I can't. Is this real?
Yeah, I know. You know, Screwball had a 2.21 ERA, and we thought that was great. And then boom, Paul Skeens, 1.97. Yeah, he was just dominant. Obviously, he's still a rookie. He's on his rookie contract, but he will also get a fat paycheck when it comes time. Who knows? He might go back to back too. We'll see how he does next season. But the final awards, we got the comeback player of the years, Jacob deGrom and Ronald Acuna Jr. both coming back from injury. deGrom was great. He went 12-8 with the 2.97 ERA and 30 starts. Then Acuna batted .290, had 21 home runs, and he started the All-Star game for the 4th time to win the National League. I just got a trade in the MLB. I'll break that right now from Jeff Passan. Taylor Ward, the outfielder from the Angels, is going to Baltimore for Grayson Rodriguez. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, and then we got the relievers of the year. Aroldis Chapman, the 37-year-old, was dominant. He led all qualified relievers with a 1.17 ERA and 61 in the third innings to win the award for the 2nd time. And then Edwin Diaz becomes the 2nd pitcher to earn the award 3 times, leading the qualified National League relievers with a 1.63 ERA while having 98 strikeouts and 66 in the third innings. So 2 dominant guys. I know Edwin Diaz is a free agent this upcoming year, or he's currently a free agent. But Aroldis Chapman, a 37-year-old man, that is incredible. Still pumping 100 miles per hour, and he had a 1.17 ERA. He was. I don't think words can describe that. That's just crazy for a 37-year-old. But he continues to get it done. But moving on to the NBA. Well, moving on to NBA. We got NBA standings. Standings updates. Like I said, we're not going to go over every game just because it takes too long. Too many games to cover. Not many games I could watch. But starting off in the Eastern Conference, Pistons still atop the leaderboard. They're 12-2. I believe last time they were 9-2, so they've only played 3 games, so they've won. They're just dominant. Cade Cunningham just got announced he's getting a Nike shoe deal. So he's probably feeling great. They're feeling great. They're 12-2 after they've won 10 straight, I believe.
They
Yeah,
won. They won
they've
tonight.
they've won 10. Oh, well, there you go. They've won. I believe they won 10 straight. Cavs are behind them, 10-5. Raptors are, which is a surprise to me. They're 9-5. Hawks are 9-5. Knicks and Sixers and Heat are 8-5/8-6, and then we got Bulls 7-6. And then we got both the Bucks and Magic are 8-7. So those are the top 10 teams in the East. But yeah, man, Pistons are the 10-0 in the last. Yeah, in a lot they won't not a 10-game win streak. They've been incredible. I saw things like they went from losing 20, I want honestly 28 straight a couple of years ago to winning 10 straight. I remember they used to do every time the Pistons won, they would give 10 free nuggets or 10 free boneless wings away at Buffalo Wild Wings. Because they didn't win games, and now they're winning games. And I don't think that problem was alive anymore. But yeah, they're looking good. Obviously, it's still tough. We're about I think maybe a month into the season. Might be
Right.
wrong. Might be a little bit, only like 3 weeks in. But yeah, they're top of the East, and who knows how far they'll go.
Yeah, we talked about them before. Just a young team that's obviously coming up, and Kate Cunningham is the main piece there, and they're doing their. For me, Cleveland Cavaliers last year, the number 2 seed currently right now, they were a bit of shock because they were almost the team there that the Pistons are. They were just winning a bunch of games, and the number 1 seed probably throughout the year last year, and now the Pistons 11-game win streak, and yeah, I think they're going to stay there. I think they only get better as the year goes on, and yeah, the Raptors are surprising to me because I'm usually looking for like the Knicks are always there.
Yeah.
The Sixers they got that number 1 pick along with Tyrese Maxey, who's playing out of his mind right now, and um, but yeah, no, this looks like this East is going to change
Yeah,
throughout the year.
it'll definitely be close. I think I think probably seeds 1 through 3 will probably be locked in midway through the year. And everything below that will probably be very
Yeah,
close together. Moving on the West, yeah, Thunder have just been unstoppable. They don't even have Jalen Williams. And they're 14-1.
yeah,
Um, they just they're looking dominant. Right now they're looking like the 73-9 Warriors. Um, we'll see. Like
yeah.
I
I
said,
was I was thinking that when I saw their record at this point, I'm like 14-1. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, these guys. Yeah, even not even with a full healthy squad, these guys they're winning everything that they can. I mean, they have a win streak of 6 right now, 9-1 in their last 10. Yeah, they're just playing really good ball, and yeah, they're looking like the old school Warriors. Just whoever's coming their way, just handling them and beating them down.
Yeah, and another thing is Shea's sitting out in fourth quarters because they've just been
Oh,
dominating
nice.
that much.
Yeah, I've seen
That's
that
like Curry back in the day. So yeah, it's scary hours for the league right now. We'll see if the Thunder go back to back. Who knows? Maybe Jalen Williams comes back and they start playing bad. Who knows? But yeah, they're just looking unstoppable at the moment. Behind them is the Nuggets, they're still great. They're 10-3.
They're good.
And then
They're really
followed by the Rockets, who are 9-3. Lakers are 10-4. And then we have the Spurs, Timberwolves, and the Warriors, all at 9 wins. However, the Warriors have played so many games. They've played 16 games thus far, um, which is actually only one more than the Thunder. But yeah, they've had a lot of back-to-backs. They have a game tomorrow as well. The Warriors are 9-7. Suns are 8-6. Timberwolves 9-5, and the Spurs are 9-4. However, the Spurs are dealing with some injury. Wembanyama is out for a couple of weeks with a calf strain.
good.
And then Stephon Castle, I believe, is out with the hip flexor strain. So they're losing 2 of the young studs early into the season, where they're looking great. After the 9-7 Warriors, you go to the 6-7 Blazers, and then the 5-8 Jazz, and after that, a lot of bad teams.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that's not good is the Clippers that are 4-10. Clippers are obviously I saw this last week. Bradley Beal's out for the year for the Clippers. I figured that out. That's just crazy. But the Clippers are 4-10. And you
Mhm.
want to know who owns their first round pick this year?
Who's there?
The OKC Thunder.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's what they
Yeah.
need. That's what
So
they need. And the Clippers, I think the Clippers are the oldest team in the league, and then the
yeah,
Warriors, something like that. I think they're 1 and
yeah,
2. And yeah, I mean, just a lot of those guys. You look at that lineup, and you see a lot of those guys who are, on their third, fourth, fifth team. It's just
yeah.
uh,
But yeah,
that's just not going to.
it's gonna be bad if the Thunder somehow end up with the first overall pick next year. So could be scary hours for the league. But that is our NBA standings update. Going on to NBA news. We went over a couple news, but LeBron tonight. Today's Tuesday, the 18th. He's set to make his debut for my sciatica nerve injury. Um, that's about it. Oh, Giannis left the game early with the groin injury. Um, yeah, that's I covered obviously the Stephon Castle and the Wemby. Oh, Giannis is expected to miss about 2 weeks with his injury. Curry last week dropped back-to-back 40-point games against the Spurs. I made a post about that on TikTok and Instagram. Um, but yeah, that is all the NBA news. That is all the news we'll cover. Maybe I'll give a quick shout out to the San Jose Sharks. I believe they have a good record. Don't follow hockey, but obviously the Bay Area's team, and they're playing good. They got the two young guys. I believe they have Macklin Celebrini, and they have I believe his name is Will Smith. I think those two guys have been carrying the team. But yeah, I think they're winning games. So I guess that's good for the Sharks and the Bay Area
I just
fans. But
haven't, yeah, myself
yeah,
either. I just haven't, even since their establishment in 1992, the Sharks. I've been to a few games here and there, but it's just, I got football, baseball, basketball, hockey. I mean, I get some kind of life.
yeah,
I got to
most
say no to
definitely.
some sports, but
Yeah,
no,
most
it's
definitely.
good to hear. Actually, that what's his name, Celebrini?
Hmm.
He was his or his dad, I
His
believe, is
dad's
a
the health.
Warriors coach, right, or something like that.
Yeah, he's the health. No, his dad. His
Oh, there
dad,
you
Rick
go.
Celebrini, is the.
Yeah,
I want to say he's like the team doctor, but he's like their athletic trainer. Or he's
yeah,
their athletic trainer. So
awesome.
he's also one of the best in the league at
Yeah,
what he does. But yeah,
he was at a game. That guy, the Sharks player, he was there, and then they interviewed him, and and I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. So he's got
yeah,
a top pick
they got a
in
couple
the
young
NHL.
guys.
No, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Before I close out this episode, I will announce this. I will be having a little giveaway for the holiday season. So more will be onto that next episode, but to be entered into it, obviously make sure you're subscribed on either YouTube or Spotify, and then follow my socials. I will make a post about this next week. Further and more the details, but just keep an eye out. There will be a holiday giveaway soon.
Interesting.
But that is all for today. Thank you all for tuning in. I'd like to thank my co-host, my uncle, for joining me today. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Spotify. We try to get episodes out every Wednesday. Um, I try to get posts out, try to get post-game reactions out when I can. Obviously busy with school, but I'm going. My quarter is ending soon, so should get more of those out. But once again, thank you all for tuning in, and until next time, stay ready.